Welcome to the 36th Annual Mississippi College Academic Competition. The competition began the year with 26 teams from high schools across the state. Teams are matched in a quiz bowl-like competition, utilizing questions developed and tested for the high school level. Our goal is to recognize academic knowledge, to encourage learning, and to foster the spirit of competition and fair play. We have reached the finals. This match features Jackson Prep versus Park Lane Academy. Let's meet the teams.
Jackson Prep, Burton O'Brien, Senior.
David Cruz, Senior.
Hogan Privet, Senior.
Ty UC, Junior.
I'm from Park Lane Academy. I'm Joseph Willis, and I'm a junior.
Mackenzie Charles, and I'm a senior.
Luke Borman, and I'm a senior.
Mana Sharma, Senior.
Mia Montalvo, Senior. Marian Bradford, Junior.
Kirkland Bridges, Senior.
Here is the first question of round one, a 10-point toss-up. In which city does a McDonald's restaurant now sit on the spot where Johann Strauss composed his famous waltz, The Blue Danube?
Park Lane, Manas.
Budapest?
No. Jackson Prep, Ty.
Leipzig?
No.
No, Vienna. A 10-point toss-up. Identify the fish whose name is used to designate the short on top, long in the back haircut, popularized by hockey.
Jackson Prep, David.
Mullet.
Yes.
That's it for 20-point toss-up. On July the 4th, 1837, who stood at the Concord Bridge in Massachusetts and read his poem, The Concord Hymn, at the dedication of the original Minuteman statue?
Park Lane, Mackenzie.
Alfred Lord Tennyson.
No. Jackson Prep, Ty.
Longfellow?
No.
No, Ralph Waldo Emerson. A 10-point toss-up. Which famous art museum located on the north bank of the Seine River was built as a residence for the kings of France?
Jackson Prep, David.
Palace of Versailles.
No. Park Lane Academy, Manas.
The Louvre?
Correct. For 10 points. Identify the biblical person who had a dream of the angels of God ascending and descending a ladder.
Park Lane Academy, Luke.
Jacob?
Yes.
Toss up for 10 points. The world of medicine introduces many words difficult to spell. I want you to spell the word phlebotomy for bloodletting. It is a toss-up.
Jackson Prep, David.
Phlebotomy.
That's
Yes.
correct. A 20-point toss-up. Name the two Whig U.S. presidents who served from 1849 to 1853.
Park Lane, Luke.
Fillmore and Pierce?
No. Jackson Prep, Ty.
Harrison and Fillmore?
Nope.
No.
Taylor and Fillmore. A math question for 10 points. What is the sum of the infinite geometric series that begins with the numbers 80 plus 60 plus 45 plus 135 over 4 plus ...
Jackson Prep, Ty.
Infinity?
No.
Park Lane Academy, Mackenzie.
1,000.
No.
320. A 15-point toss-up. Baltimore's Ironman player voluntarily ended his streak in 1998 of playing in 2,632 consecutive games during a 16-year period of time. Name this Baltimore Oriole.
Jackson Prep, Verdon.
Cal Ripken, Jr.
Yes.
For 10 points, in which U.S. state capital did Coors Field open in April 1995?
Park Lane Academy, Manas.
Trenton?
No. Jackson Prep, David.
Denver.
Yes.
A 15-point toss-up. Which unit equal to 1 vibration per second is used to measure frequency?
Park Lane, Manas.
Hertz?
Yes.
A 20-point toss-up. If the molar solubility of calcium fluoride is 2.0 times 10 to the negative fourth power, what is the solubility product constant given in proper exponential form?
Park Lane, Manas.
2 times 10 to the 10th?
No. Jackson Prep, Ty.
2 times 10 to the negative 4th divided by 6.022 times 10 to the negative 23rd?
No.
3.2 times 10 to the negative 11th. A 10-point toss-up. Which of the Great Lakes does the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame overlook?
Jackson Prep, David.
Lake Superior.
No. Park Lane, Luke. Yes.
A 10-point toss-up. Give the English translation of the Latin phrase ars gratia artis, which sums up the philosophy.
Jackson Prep, David.
Art for art's sake.
Yes.
That's correct. A math question for 10 points. Give the value of the quantity a minus b to the third power if b equals a plus 1.
Jackson Prep, Hogan.
1.
No. Park Lane, Manas.
-1.
Yes.
That's the end of our first round of competition. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. At the end of round 1, our score is Jackson Prep 55, Park Lane Academy 55. Let's proceed to round 2. Here's our first toss-up for 15 points. Term for the technique of representing three-dimensional objects on a plane surface so that they appear in painting as they do in nature.
Park Lane, Manas.
Shading.
No. Jackson Prep, David.
Chiaroscuro.
No, perspective is the term we were looking for. A 20-point toss-up. What 8-letter term derived from Old French is used to designate a deep crack or crevice in a glacier?
Jackson Prep, Verdon.
Fissure.
No. Park Lane, Luke.
Fracture.
No.
Crevasse is the term. A 20-point toss-up. How many atoms are in a unit cell of a crystal with face-centered cubic structure?
Park Lane, Manas.
4.
Yes.
That is correct. Here's your bonus question. Identify each of the following concerning American history. For 5 points. Which U.S. president, called the era of good feeling president, won an easy re-election victory when only one electoral vote was cast against him? With the Federalist Party in a state of collapse, he had no opposition in 1820.
Monroe.
Yes.
For 10 points. 2 20th century presidents who won their elections by the widest margins with fewer than 15 electoral votes cast against them. I need both of them.
Franklin Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy.
No.
No, for 10 points, Jackson Prep.
FDR and Reagan. FDR and Nixon.
No.
No, it's FDR and Reagan. All right, here is a math toss-up for 10 points. If the ratio of one of the sides to the base of an isosceles triangle is 4:3, and the perimeter is 55 feet, what is the length of the base?
Park Lane, Manas.
15.
Yes.
Here is your bonus question. Identify each of the following U.S. state capitals. For 5 points, which U.S. state capital is located 14 miles east of Lake Tahoe?
Denver.
No.
For 5 points.
Carson City.
Carson City it is. Back to a toss-up for 10 points. Name the eccentric host in Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland who asked Alice.
Park Lane, Luke.
The Mad Hatter.
Yes.
Correct. Here's your bonus question. Identify each of the following words for 5 points. Word beginning with PR, specifically used to designate an introduction to a statute or constitution, such as for the U.S. Constitution.
Preamble.
Yes.
For 10 points. Word beginning with PR and containing the Greek word root for speech, designated an introduction to a poem, play, or novel, such as for the Canterbury Tales.
Prologue.
Yes.
For 15 points, word containing the Greek root for tomb, used to designate a short composition in prose or verse written as a tribute to a dead person.
Provost.
No.
No. For 15 points?
Probituary.
No, this one didn't start with PR, so it's epitaph is what we're looking for. For 15 points on a toss-up, which national park is the site of the 2,000 to 2,500-year-old General Sherman tree?
Parkland Academy, McKenzie.
Redwood National Forest.
No.
No, the world's largest tree in terms of the volume of wood. It is located on the western slopes of the Sierra Nevada.
Section Prep tie.
Sequoia National
Yes.
Park?
Sequoia it is. Here's a bonus question for you. Identify each of the following concerning food for 5 points. Small, light, biscuit-like cakes eaten in Scotland that poet Robert Burns describes as the whale of food.
Cookie.
No.
No, for 5 points.
Macaroons.
No.
No scones. And that's the end of round 2. We'll be back in a moment with the preliminary score. At the end of 2 rounds of competition in the finals, Jackson Prep has 75, Parkland Academy 115. Let's proceed to round 3. A 10-point toss-up. It's a math question. What is the sum of 3 days, 13 hours, and 43 minutes added to 4 days, 12 hours, and 37 minutes?
Park Lane, Luke.
8 days, 1 hour, and 41 minutes.
No. Section Prep, Verdon.
8 days, 1 hour, and 20 minutes.
No.
8 days, 2 hours, and 20 minutes. All right, another toss-up for 10 points. Identify the atom model named for a 20th century Danish physicist and having electrons revolving.
Park Lane, Manus.
Bohr's model.
Yes.
That's correct. Here is your bonus question. Identify each of the following concerning literature for 5 points. Epic poem of the 700s, considered to be the first major work of English literature.
Beowulf.
Yes.
For 10 points. What classic piece of literature did George Orwell write in 1948?
Yes.
1984.
It's correct. For 15 points. Santiago and Manolin are characters in what short novel?
Old Man in the Sea.
Correct. And for 20 points. What book contained this quote? No man, for any considerable period, can wear one face to himself and another to the multitude, without finally getting bewildered as to which may be the true.
The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
No. For 20 points, Jackson Prep.
The Great Gatsby.
No.
No, The Scarlet Letter. A 10-point toss-up. A museum in Charleston, South Carolina honors which worm that has a disc-like sucker on each end? This bloodsucker is sometimes used today.
Section Prep, tie.
Leech.
That is correct. Here is your bonus question. Identify each of the following concerning chemistry for 5 points. I'm going to give you 4 choices here. Mg2+, Cu2+, Na1+, Al3+, the ion that forms colored solutions.
Cu2+.
Yes.
Correct. For 10 points. Principle stating that it is not possible to determine the velocity and location of a particle at the same instant.
Uncertainty principle. What? Uncertainty principle. Uncertainty principle.
More specific.
Time, Park Lane.
Heisenberg Uncertainty Principle.
That's it. A 15-point toss-up. Which American invented an electrically controlled naval mine, laid an underwater electrical cable from New York City to Coney Island, and developed in 1835 the first successful repeating pistol, a revolver called?
Jackson Prep. David.
Colt.
Yes.
That is correct. Here's your bonus. Identify each of the following concerning British history. For 5 points. Which English king was overthrown during the Glorious Revolution of 1688-1689?
James the First.
No.
No. For 5 points, Park Lane.
No.
No, James II. Back to a 20-point toss-up. Identify the Beethoven symphony that is the source of the European Union's official anthem.
Jackson Prep. Tie.
Ode to Joy.
No.
Its fourth movement, the Ode to Joy, was adopted by the EU in 1972.
Park Lane. Luke.
Beethoven's Fifth.
No.
It's the Ninth Symphony for 10 points on a toss-up. Founder of the American Red Cross, whose letters and speeches handwritten more than 100 years ago were discovered in 1990.
Park Lane. Mia.
Clara Barton.
That is correct. Here is your bonus question. Identify the following by giving an answer beginning with the letter C. For 5 points. Identify the second largest member of the violin family. It is tuned an octave below the viola, and its 4 strings are tuned in fifths to C, G, D, and A.
Cello.
Yes.
For 10 points. Cloth insignia in the shape of the letter V. Keep going.
I don't care.
Corona.
No.
No, for 10 points, Jackson Prep.
Chevron.
Yes.
Chevron it is. And that's the end of round 3. We'll be back again in a moment with the preliminary score. At the end of 3 rounds of competition in the finals, the score is Jackson Prep 115, Park Lane Academy 170. Here is our 4th round. For 15 points, of the 5 halogens, identify the only one that is a liquid at room.
Jackson Prep. David.
Bromine.
Yes.
For 10 points, which E word, derived from the Arabic designating a cure-all, identifies a hypothetical?
Jackson Prep. David.
Never mind.
Identifies a hypothetical substance with the power to prolong life indefinitely.
Park Lane. Mackenzie.
Elixir.
Yes.
Correct. For 5 points, which term in computer terminology is used to designate a group of 8 or more bits?
Jackson Prep. Tie.
Byte.
Yes.
A 20-point toss-up. Identify the British scientist for whom zinc carbonate, the mineral he studied, is named. In his will, he left $500,000 to the United States for the establishment of a scientific institution for the increase and diffusion of knowledge among men.
Park Lane. Manus.
Dalton.
No.
No.
Jackson Prep. Tie.
Faraday.
No.
No, James Smithson, the Smithsonian Institute. A 15-point toss-up. After Attorney General Harlan Fiske Stone restored the integrity of the Bureau of Investigation in the wake of the Harding administration scandals, which lawyer did he appoint to head this bureau?
Jackson Prep. David.
J. Edgar Hoover.
Correct. A 10-point toss-up. One of the most famous buildings in Milan, Italy is La Scala. What is the purpose of this building?
Park Lane. Mackenzie.
Opera House.
Yes.
Yes, it is. A 10-point toss-up. Which World War II leader tried to escape the advancing Allied forces in disguise in 1945?
Jackson Prep. Tie.
Benito Mussolini.
Yes.
For 20 points, in which country did President and Mrs. Clinton end their 1998 African tour with a visit to the slave house on the island of Goree, the site from which millions of Africans were shipped to America as slaves? Dakar is its capital.
Jackson Prep. David.
Senegal.
Yes.
A 15-point toss-up. Name the 1,049-mile sled dog race trail that was once one of...
Jackson Prep. Tie.
Iditarod.
Yes.
A 20-point toss-up. Name the Democrat who sought the nomination of his party for president in 1844, 1848, and 1852, then succeeded on his fourth try in 1856 and was elected to the office.
Park Lane, Luke.
Buchanan.
Yes.
A math question for 10 points. If the area of a circle is 100 pi square feet, what is the circle's circumference?
Park Lane, Manus.
20 pi.
Yes.
For 10 points, identify the first U.S. Secretary of State to become president.
Park Lane, Manus.
Jefferson.
Yes.
For 10 points, name the unmanned spacecraft whose 14-year-long probe of Jupiter NASA halted.
Jackson Prep, tie.
Galileo.
Yes.
A math question for 10 points. What number comes next in this sequence? 9, 16, 25, 36, and so on.
Jackson Prep, tie.
49.
Yes.
A 15-point toss-up. What two-word name do astronomers give to the material they say makes up as much as 90% of the universe?
Park Lane, Manus.
Dark matter.
Yes.
A 15-point toss-up. The Pope of the Roman Catholic Church from 1623 to 1644 was the 8th to adopt which name which means characteristic of a city or town?
Jackson Prep, tie.
Urban.
Yes.
Correct. A 10-point toss-up. Which word, sometimes used to designate anything that reflects or indicates change, names the instrument used to measure atmospheric pressure?
Park Lane, Manus.
Manometer.
No.
No. Jackson Prep, tie.
Barometer.
Yes.
Correct. A 15-point toss-up. Which day of World War II is called the longest day?
Jackson Prep, tie.
D-Day.
Yes.
For 10 points, identify two of the three states in which Cumberland Gap National Historical Park, named for the famous mountain pass explored by Daniel Boone, is located.
Park Lane Academy, Mackenzie.
Tennessee and Virginia.
Correct. For 10 points, name the digestive system tube beginning with the letter A.
Park Lane Academy, Manus.
Archenteron.
Beginning with the letter A,
Jackson Prep, tie.
Appendix.
No.
alimentary canal is what we're looking for. For 10 points, in which state does the Strait of Mackinac separate the upper and lower peninsulas?
Jackson Prep, tie.
Michigan.
Yes.
For 10 points, which colloquial term for a signature refers to the person who signed his name?
Park Lane Academy, Luke.
John Hancock.
Yes.
For 10 points, name the triangle.
No.
And that's the end of our fourth round of competition. At the end of the fourth round of the finals of the competition, the score is Jackson Prep 265, Parkland Academy 275. So we'll have the presentation of the championship plaque to Parkland Academy. To present our championship plaque this year is Dr. Blake Thompson, President of Mississippi College.
Thank you, Dr. Lavelle. This year is the 36th annual Mississippi College Academic Competition. Teams from across the state participated in this single elimination tournament. Congratulations both to Jackson Prep and Park Lane Academy for reaching the finals. We witnessed outstanding performances from each today. Now, I'm pleased to present to Park Lane Academy this plaque representing our 2019-2020 champions. Congratulations.